Meanwhile, back here in the wood butcher's shop, we have two frames here that we have clamped as best as we can, and using some paint cans and wood to hold everything square. And we've got one more frame over there, so that's all four frames. These last three frames, I went ahead and made these, the outside dimension is actually 14 1/4 inches, and that gives us that 1/4 of an inch inside width that we need to accommodate those new style grills. So rather than make four frames, I had cut the one out on the inside as I previously showed. And these three frames, we won't have to cut anything out on the inside. The grill will drop right down inside of them and fit just like it's supposed to. So more to follow, but just want to let you know I made a little change. And the wife said, well, aren't you going to make that fourth frame over again and make it 8 1/4 or 14 1/4 instead of 14? And I told her, I said, the difference is you're going to have 1/8 of an inch of frame sticking out on each end of the grill more on the three new size frames versus the original prototype frame. So I don't hardly think anybody's going to sit there and look up at the ceiling and try to measure an 1/8 of an inch difference on each end of wood sticking out for a frame. And over on this side of the workbench, we have the other three frames that we've just let those cure, and the glue dried enough to where we could do some initial rough sanding, and then we're going to come in and pretty up these mitered edges. If I'd have had some nice 45-degree picture frame clamps, I think I could have made better joints, but a little wood putty and some paint, and I don't think you'll see the wood joints show up at all through the paint. And once these frames are mounted to the ceiling of the Alpine, I think everything is going to stay in shape and hold its position just fine. But I want to give you a sneak preview, and we'll do a quick fit test. Since I cut these frames 1/4 of an inch longer than the original, you can see the difference in the amount of wood that sticks out over the edge versus the original one. And I can't set the frame in there because the paint's wet. But so we'll fit test all three of these just to make sure that I made everything the same. And that one drops in, and we'll check this one real quick, and that one drops in. So all three of those frames are going to work perfect. We'll have just a little bit more wood showing on the edges, but it's going to be painted white. It's going to blend in, and it's going to attach to that ceiling, and I'm not going to have no more ugly mess when trying to deal with that. The Alpine guy out here in Idaho, we're taking a quick look to see how the first prototype frame came out. This is the one that's cut 8 inches overall, or excuse me, not 8 inches, 14 inches from far corner to far corner. And the next three that we've cut are 14 1/4, so that this inside area here will accommodate the new grills that we purchased from Home Depot. And one thing that I am going to do on the next three is I'm going to drill the hole on each one of these T-nuts, and then paint the frame first, and then put the T-nut in after I get the frame painted. That way I won't have to put tape over the T-nuts like I did on this original prototype frame to keep from getting the paint in on the threads. Okay, so we've got the other three frames that we cut 1/4 inch larger on the outside to accommodate those new grills. We've got the final sanding done on them, and the miter joints look pretty good. They're not as good as a skilled cabinet maker or carpenter guy would be. I'm an aircraft mechanic, an auto mechanic, diesel mechanic, electronics engineer, and computer guy. But when it comes to wood and I just, we have this thing, you know, and usually the wood wins. Okay, we've got a first coat of paint on these other three frames for the grills, for the air returns, and the wind is blowing real good out here, but no dirt in the air, so we'll let the sun and the wind dry these a little bit and check on them. But just wanted to give you an idea of what the three other frames will look like, and we still have the holes to drill, put the T-nuts in, and get the filter material cut and trimmed, and then of course go out and mount the frame of each one of these up in place where the old grills were, and then put the new grills and filters in. But that gives you an idea of what the project's gonna look like, I hope. One thing I did want to bring up is some folks are concerned about the filter material being sucked through on the bottom side of this when it's installed up in the ceiling. Well, with the mesh material that I'm using, with those plastic strips, the edges of this frame all the way around are going to anchor that in place. However, this is the original OEM grill, and you can see that these fins are in fact flush, whereas the fins on the ones I bought at Home Depot, they stick up above the edge. So that was the problem there. Had I not had that problem, then I probably would have put a center brace across like this, and then the filter would be further supported to prevent it from being sucked up inside, up into the air conditioning unit through the return grill duct. And of course, if I take this filter, or excuse me, this screen, and we lay it down in place, you can see that that would have worked real good. Whereas, and this paint is still a little tacky, whereas if I tried to put this brace in here with these grill returns I bought from Home Depot, with the way these grills stick down, well, you can see that I would have the problem. You can see that the frame is not going to sit flush. So that's why there's no center brace, but it's a point to consider if any of you are interested in constructing a frame, or use some of the ideas that I've shown in some of these prototype videos. But for mine, they're not going to have this. I don't need it, and when I get this installed, we'll do a demonstration of the air conditioner and show you how the filter material stays in place.